course. Of course you do.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, my first job in radio, Robin, was to play the commercials during the football games.
Yes.
And one of the first experiences I guess I had in those days, I didn't speak on the radio except for maybe the weather at the top of the hour. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I had to know was who was winning, what team was winning.
Yeah.
And not just what team was winning that we were having on the broadcast, but what team was winning anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
You know what we had back then? A phone. We didn't have the internet.
No.
How did you find this stuff out? So it was a mission for me to try and figure out how you know these things. And then later on, when I did music radio, the question was always, hey, who did that hit song? Who did that song? I was like, geez, how do you know this stuff? How do you know all this stuff, right?
And you always looked it up.
Now, we've been doing talk radio now for a long time, probably 20 years, I guess. And I think one of the first things that happened in this genre, I guess we call this a genre, was hey, have you heard about the Bilderbergs? Mm-hmm. And I had no idea what they were talking about. I thought it was a candy bar.
Yeah.
The Bilderbergs is supposedly this group of people that meets secretly and they decide what the rest of the world is going to have to go through, whether it's a war or a crisis or a famine or drought.
Yeah.
And then I heard about the Koch brothers, I guess, in the last 10 years or so.
Exactly.
I don't know what to believe. And then, of course, the JFK people who say, this is what really happened and that's what really happened. The 911 people.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, they're very, very convincing. And yet, I'm in a position where, how do I know? I mean, I can only know what you're telling me, Mm-hmm. I can only know. And then you have these authors who are very, very convincing. I mean, they've written a whole book. I've studied it.
Yes.
I've studied it. Here's my proof that such and such happened instead of what the government is telling you. Or instead of, well, it is a phenomenon. We call it conspiracy theories. I think there's a conspiracy behind my voice today, by the way.
Yeah, it's different today.
This is
not up to snuff.
It's a fascinating topic, and by the way, I know that those are all push button words. You say the Koch brothers, boom, the phones will light up. You say the Bilderbergs, boom, phones will light up.
Yeah.
Right. You say, the landing on the moon was a hoax.
Exactly.
Or wasn't a hoax, or whatever you want to say about it. Boom, the phones will light up. I know they're all push button words. Joseph E. Useinski is on the phone. I hope I said his name right. He teaches courses on American politics, public opinion, the media, conspiracy theories, etc. And he's got a load of credentials. A professor of political science at the University of Miami. Is he in Miami?
I don't know where he's at.
Anyway, his book is called American Conspiracy Theories, and in this book he studies kind of why this happens. What's the reason for the phenomenon of people just not believing what they're being told and coming up with another story. And I never know what to believe. Yeah. I know we landed on the moon, though, because that Japanese thing.
That's right.
They saw the...
That's right, they did.
I don't know what to believe.
Japanese telescope saw
to tell you the truth. Well, John Lennon said in one of his songs, I don't believe, and he went through everything he didn't believe in.
Yeah.
They said, just believe in me and Yoko. That's all I believe in.
Right.
That's all I believe. Joseph Useinski, I'm losing my voice. Thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's an interesting topic. And have you ever done talk radio? I mean, not as a guest, but I mean as a host, by chance?
I've never hosted talk radio. I think when I was in college, I got my amateur license for the college station, and I did that for a little while. But it was more playing Pearl Jam at the time.
The funny
than anything else.
The funny, I've went through those days too. But this is what I want to tell you. You're talking to a guy who does a small-time radio show in a small town. You know why I don't have a big-time show? Because I don't buy into the theories. I think if I did, I'd be catapulted to the top.
Yeah.
You would. You could be the next Alex Jones. Or the next,
right. Exactly. That's what I think. I think the most honest broadcasters are going to be the small-town ones. That's what I think. So tell me what you discovered and how you decided to make this a whole book.
Well, people have been subscribing to conspiracy theories for a long, long time, and if you go back and you look at the things that people have believed in, we find a lot of these beliefs funny now, but at the time, they were very people believed them, And that's the same. It kind of tells us something about our current beliefs. So everyone's in a tizzy right now about Ebola. Like, did the government plant it? Is there a secret organization that's trying to kill off half the world's population with Ebola? And you know what? These beliefs come and go. Some people subscribe to them. Most people don't. And most conspiracy theories come and go in the night. There are only very few that will stick with us for a long period of time.
You know, the conspiracy about 9/11, I always said that there is a conspiracy. I mean, there was like how many guys are in those planes? That's a conspiracy. So the very definition of the word conspiracy theory is kind of a hard one, because the story that is the official story is, in effect, a conspiracy.
Yeah, that's true. And so what you wind up with is a dividing line between a theory about conspiracy and then an actual conspiracy. Yeah. So, I mean, for those who buy the official story, and I'm one of them, on 9/11, is that, 18 or 19 dudes got on planes and crashed them into buildings, and the buildings fell down. I mean, they conspired to do that. So, but if you accept a different explanation, then you have a conspiracy theory that runs counter to the government's explanation.
Yeah. So
so maybe it's the Jews that did it, maybe it's the government that did it, maybe it was Dick Cheney or Halliburton that did it. But it's a different type of theory.
In looking at these, did you find any that had some truth to them at all?
Oh, there's a ton. I mean, if you go back through history, there are always people who are scheming to do something that's really bad. I mean, there were plans in the government, for instance, to blow up our astronauts to try and get us into a war with Cuba and with the Soviets. Lots of plots like that. Many of them they didn't take off, but a lot did. I mean, imagine, you go back into the early 1970s, you have two cheeky journalists running around thinking that this hotel break-in might lead up to the White House, and everyone thought they were nuts.
Right.
And they gathered evidence, and now you have a president that has to resign because of it.
Evidence would make a difference, wouldn't it? I mean, if we had evidence of the 9/11 theories or the conspiracies or the JFK conspiracies or any of them, that would change everything, wouldn't it?
Well, the problem is evidence is always in the eye of the beholder. I mean, more evidence is good over long periods of time, so people do get smarter at the macro level. But on the individual level, each of us pick and chooses, what's the good evidence, what evidence should we believe, and what evidence should we discard? And what we find is that, if you present something that they don't want to believe, they're just going to ignore you.
Yeah, right.
And for the most part, they tend to double down on their beliefs.
Sometimes people will think about the visual aspect of conspiracies that may lead to distractions. When JFK Jr.'s plane crashed and everybody was looking for them, Bill Clinton was on the television a lot, and every time you saw him, there were different flags in the background. There was the American flag, and then there were the flags of different countries, one right after the other. It wasn't more than one country at a time, but every time he got on, it was always the U.S. flag with another country, and we thought maybe that might be a distraction over to what was happening in the Middle East.
I mean, that's a great thing that's going on right now with YouTube that you point out, because everything is recorded and available for everyone to see. I mean, when I was younger, you'd put on the TV, you'd see it once, and it was gone, so you didn't have time to examine it. Now everything is there forever. So right now, a big one that's going on is that there's an Ebola patient that's getting loaded off an airplane, and people think that there's a conspiracy there because there's 4 people putting the person on the plane, and they're all wearing hazmat suits. And then there's one guy helping out who doesn't have any protection on at all. So some people think, oh my God, is there some sort of conspiracy there? Is it a hoax? Why would this guy be there without any protection if everyone else is wearing hazmat suits?
Yeah, see, I don't know what to think about that. What is it? I mean, what is the answer to that? How do we know?
Well, you don't, and that's the problem with conspiracy theories. I mean, the idea of a conspiracy is that you have people working in secret against us. And
that's the Bilderbergs.
The idea is that, yeah, well, that's all of them. I mean, it's the guy who really shot JFK. It's the person who faked the moon landing. It's the Bilderbergs. If somebody's working in secret, then you should expect that there's not going to be a lot of evidence to, key you into their little plot.
The difference in my mind between the JFK shooting and the moon landing or 911, is that the JFK shooting could involve a conspiracy with just a handful of people, whereas the moon landing would have to have a gigantic number of people, as would 911. Every firefighter would have had to have been in on this, I would think.
Sure.
And somebody would blow the whistle eventually.
I mean, there are a lot of ways to think about conspiracy theories. So if one comes your way, and if you want to think about, is it true or not, one test you can apply is, well, how many people have to be involved to pull that off?
Yeah. And
with 911, you have to have people go in, plant explosives, then cover it up, and then fly the planes, cover up the bodies. The people at all levels of government would have had to be involved. Same thing with the moon landing. So it gets very difficult to keep a secret when that secret is so valuable to keep.
The book is called American Conspiracy Theories. Joseph E. Useinski is our guest, and he's the author along with Joseph M. Parent. We'll be right back after the weather and a couple of commercials to speak more. I want to be sure to be fair to the book. I feel like we've kind of been a little bit over the map with him, but the book is important to focus on. So let's do that when we come back, and we'll do that after the break. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sunshine today and quite pleasant with lower humidity, the high 79 to 83. Tonight will be clear and cool with lows ranging from the mid-50s and a few inland spots to about 61 at the coast. Mostly sunny and delightful tomorrow, the high 78 to 82. On Saturday, plenty of sunshine and pleasant, the high 81 to 85. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Your home is safe, or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place to have peace of mind when you are at home or away? AA Lock, Dock, and Security has the right people to install and monitor your home or business. Call today for a free on-site security analysis. Call 867-1965. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, 219 Northwest 10th Street, 867-1965.
I'm Major George Patterson from the Salvation Army. Please stop by our family store at 120 Northwest 10th Street in Ocala, where on Wednesday you have a 50% off clothing and bric-a-brac. On Friday, 25% off furniture and large appliances. And on Saturday, stop by to our yard sale from 8:45 to 11. Donations can be made by calling 352-732-4469 and we'll pick it up. Funds from the store go toward the services that we provide in Marion County.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Talking about ourselves stimulates the brain the same way love, food, and cash do. Everybody's favorite subject is themselves. So, on a date, ask her about herself. Adults studying a new language learn words and phrases faster when they sing them. Normal, happy cows produce about 9 gallons of milk a day. But super relaxed and happy cows produce more than 10 gallons.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Yo, Goomba, they're doing this comedy about me at the Ocala Civic Theater called Breaking Legs. Yeah, I know, great title. My daughter brings this playwright to a restaurant, want me and the boys to invest in his new play. There's no business like show business, unless, of course, it's the family business. So, I was saying, come see our play, Breaking Legs. Call Ocala Civic Theater at 236-2274 or check it out online at OcalaCivicTheater.com. So what are you waiting for? This is an offer you can't refuse.
All right, 12 minutes now before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday morning. Joseph Useinski is on the phone. His book is called American Conspiracy Theories. It cracks open the mysteries behind the conspiracy phenomena, and he is one of two authors. The other author is Joseph M. Parent. You know what I was thinking about during the break, Joseph, was the observation, I guess, that we've had as radio hosts about two of these theories, the Koch brothers theory and the Bilderberg theory. Mm-hmm. Here's what I want to tell you. The Koch brothers conspiracy theory people are usually on the left. They're usually Democrats. They usually believe in things considered to be liberal. The Bilderberg people are usually on the right. They're usually Republicans, and it's an interesting thing, and I don't know what to believe. I don't know if there is any Bilderberg. I know there were some Koch brothers, but I don't know anything about. Yeah.
Well, just so you don't think that you're crazy, I will let you know that both of those are real. I mean, the Koch brothers are real, and they do have lots of money, and they do spend it on all sorts of stuff. I don't know if it's a conspiracy because we know who they are, we know what they give money to, and we know how much. But they do exist. The Bilderbergers, that's a different thing. I mean, they show up at a hotel, we don't know what they do, and we don't know what they're up to. So that's a lot more of a conspiracy theory, because the idea is that somehow they control the world, and they're able to do this by only meeting once a year. I think that's a pretty monumental task to pull off at a Holiday Inn.
Yeah, I always figured neither one of them is affecting me. Unless I'm a billionaire, I don't think they matters a whole lot to me.
One of the most interesting things about your book that it's not just a story. You've done a lot of surveys. You have a lot of data in there. Have a lot of graphs, and you really do prove your points.
Yeah, I mean, we spent 5 years on it. So, if you just listen to journalists out there talk about conspiracy theories, they're always freaked out about them because a new conspiracy comes along all the time, and it's, oh my God, what's going on in the world that people believe this crazy stuff. But if you put it in perspective and look over the long term, what you find is that these beliefs have been with us for a long time. So, one of the things we noted that every president that we've ever had has been accused of some conspiracy out there. I mean, there were people who believed that Jimmy Carter was a KGB agent. There were people that believed that Johnson was a communist. And the Republican presidents usually get accused of wanting to make themselves into kings or fascists or something like that. So everybody gets accused at some point in time. So
let me tell you a little bit about it, and you have to take our word for this. We're pretty smart. I hope. I hope Robin and I are pretty smart. But I'm going to tell you this, that I went down, I don't think Robin went down this rabbit hole as much as I did, but I went down the 9/11 conspiracy theory rabbit hole a few times.
You did.
Because of the very thing you were talking about, the YouTube videos that are very convincing. After I kind of chatted with different people, including the lieutenant from Port Authority in New York.
Lieutenant Keegan, yeah.
He kind of made me realize that it was foolish of me to think these things. But the one place I was stuck on was building number 7. I never could understand why that building fell the way it did, and those videos really make me wonder. I was given the answer by Peter Spence. Peter Spence from ABC News told me. I'm going to tell you what he told me. Have you ever heard this? He said that was such a high security building, it was actually wired to be imploded when they built it. That was the whole idea, is to destroy it in case we were attacked. That's what he told me.
I actually never heard that, and I didn't even know that. I do know that Building 7 is something that the 9/11 truthers talk about quite a bit.
Right.
But one way to think about conspiracy theories, I mean, if you go to YouTube, you can find what seems like really good evidence that there was a conspiracy there, and that things didn't go, that the buildings didn't fall the way they should have fallen, and Building 7 shouldn't have fallen at all. But one thing that people should do instead of just picking out the evidence that leads you to a particular conclusion, that if you look at the broader range of evidence, like all the evidence that's out there, rather than just the stuff that supports the conspiracy theory, what you find is that it's not as compelling at that point. So if you're only listening to arguments that say conspiracy, 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 you miss a lot of evidence out there.
I think so.
YouTube is not known for being fair to anything. So
well, and the big red flag is if on the video there's an ad at the end of it or a website, and if you click on it, you're going to buy a book or you're going to buy a movie or you're going to buy something. And I think that's a red flag, because they're making money from trying to tease you enough to buy the book that tells you the rest of the story.
Yeah.
And you get the book, and it's large font, and it's triple spaced, and it repeats itself. It's redundant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a really neat video on YouTube right now that kind of demonstrates this. It's a guy that shows two scenes from the latest Batman movie. And in one of the scenes, there's a building that says Aurora on it. And in another scene, there's a map. And one of the cities on the map in tiny font says Sandy Hook on it. And the argument is that the Batman movie predicted the Aurora and Sandy Hook shootings. And that somehow, the Batman producers were behind those those tragedies.
Gosh.
We know that guy, that Batman guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
How many calls? Yeah.
I can't remember his
I don't
name.
think he did that. That would be crazy.
No. I like the fact also that you've delved into different letters to the editor from individuals that live in towns across the United States, just like our town. It's a small town, and then you go to booming metropolises. But you get, but you've done the research to get the opinions of the everyday person.
Yeah, and what you find is that there are so many different conspiracy theories out there. Everybody has their own. So it's not like there's this group of crazy people out there who just believe this stuff. It's everybody believes at least one, and most people believe several. There are a handful of people who believe almost every conspiracy theory out there. But one thing we do in the book is that we list out a whole bunch of them that we found over time, and they can get really fascinating. I mean, there's one that always sticks in my mind that, back in the 1960s, there was a group of people who believed that the CIA had created lesbianism as part of a plot.
Oh, really? I have to thank them for that. I'll have to make sure I thank them. So let me ask you something. I kind of hinted at an ulterior motive, selling books or selling videos or whatever. Is there something bigger? I mean, why would somebody? I mean, if I fall for it, that's one thing. But if I create it, that's even worse. What is the reason for creating a conspiracy theory?
Well, I mean, you have the people like Alex Jones who, they traffic in this, so that's what their careers are based on. And you pointed it out earlier. If you got in on that racket, you'd probably have you'd have a syndicated show all across the country to talk about these things.
Yeah, Howard Stern's the only one I think who didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they see something, and then because they view the world in that way, that they always think that there's somebody behind the scenes pulling strings, they're just going to see it. So something happens, and that's the first thing that comes to their mind.
Have you had any naysayers about the book, you and Joseph Parent? Have you had to deal with that because it's so well done?
Yeah, actually, quite publicly. Paul Krugman, the Nobel Prize-winning economist, who's in the New York Times, he wrote a column in which he called us crazy.
Oh.
And the reason he didn't like what we said is in the book is because we call people on the right and the left, we call it like it is, and we say they're equally prone to believing in conspiracy theories. And he's a guy who's really steadfast, on the left. He's a very liberal guy, and he believes that only people on the right believe in conspiracy theories, but that's just not the case.
Oh, yeah, and here's you just told me something that I wanted to look up. I went to your Amazon listing for your book. Here's the interesting thing. Either they get 5 stars or 1 star.
Isn't that? Oh,
so you either have people who love what you say or hate what you say. You don't have anybody on the 2, 3, or 4 star line.
Well, sure, that's my mother, my father, and my sister. And then somebody who actually read the book.
That's funny. That's funny stuff.
But when you put together a book of this magnitude, the JFK assassination always seems to be standing out in everyone's mind. Even the young people that are in school now, somehow they're always delving back to that, to the JFK assassination and to the Beatles. It just really boggles my mind how those, two events are really first and forefront.
Yeah, I mean, even polls nowadays, between 65 and 90% of Americans believe that there was some form of conspiracy to kill President Kennedy. Mm-hmm. And that's 50 years after the fact. So this is one of the very few conspiracy theories that has kind of stuck with us over a long period of time. Most come and go in the night. They'll be here for a few days and they're gone, but this one has really, a lot of staying power, and everybody, whether you're right or on left, right. They buy into it.
Well, I think eventually we're going to say, Elvis has got to be dead by now.
Still doubts about Michael Jackson, though.
Michael is still alive. I saw him sit up in the helicopter. I saw the video. He sat up in the helicopter.
Go to YouTube.
All right, I have a copy of the book. I'd like to give it away. It is called American Conspiracy Theories. If you'd like it, call me. I'll put your name on it. It'll be waiting for you here. The rest of us have to go buy it. Joseph, tell me a website. And I already know it's on Amazon, so that's easy. But do you have a website?
Yeah, so I have two versions on Amazon. It's Kindle and paperback, and I'm at joeuseinski.com. Good luck spelling it, but I'm on the University of Miami website.
Let me tell you this, that Robin makes it easy for our listeners. Your name is already spelled correctly, and the website's already on our guest list, so it should be easy
great.
for them.
Thank you so much.
Let me give away this one. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Linda.
Linda, you got the book. It'll be waiting for you.
All right, thanks so much.
You're welcome. I apologize for my voice. I don't usually sound this good, but but today I got a cold helping me out. Joseph Useinski, what a fascinating topic. I don't know that I've dismissed every conspiracy theory, to be honest with you, or every part of every conspiracy theory, but some I have. I absolutely believe we landed on the moon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I absolutely do. Joseph, thank you so much for being on the air. Fun interview, by the way. Serious topic, but you were fun.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. There's a lot of finger pointing over who's to blame for allowing the second nurse infected with Ebola to take a commercial flight. She claims the CDC cleared her to get on the plane even after she told them she had a fever of 99.5.
Fox News is learning that Amber Vinson may not have been fully forthcoming with CDC officials when she called seeking clearance to fly. Sources tell us Vinson, quote, lied about how she was feeling.
Fox Business Network's Ashley Webster.
Her family said she was also feeling tired, not feeling very well while in